No, is a sign language interpreter. Do stay tuned to NTV. However, the last word team, Dan Mwangi, Zaha Indimuli, are already on location, tackling perhaps one of the biggest political questions of our time. Can the Orange Democratic Party survive following the death of Raila Amolo Odinga, a man who wasn't just the face of ODM, but was ODM? That's a conversation they'll be tackling tonight. Do stay tuned for that. Many thanks for watching. Good evening.
Live show. This is The Last Word, where we cut through the noise, cut through the opinion and views, and just figure out what exactly does the data say, what does the research say, what does the truth actually say. Not individuals' truth, but the actual truth. My name is Dan Mwangi, and I'm sitting in for my colleagues who are away, as well as, except one who is with us, that's Zaha Indimuli. And we shall be getting into our conversations tonight about a very pertinent matter. This follows the death of the Right Honorable former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga, and we are asking tonight, will ODM survive after Raila Odinga's exit? And we shall be having a very interesting conversation with people who have been part of his journey, and he has been part of their journeys in a very significant way. We have Jared Okello, who's the MP for Nyando, who is already here. We have Caswell Makore, who's ODM youth leader. We have Peter Salasia, the MP Mumias East, and we also have Arnold Maliba, the party leader of Progress Plus Alliance. And we are expecting to have Richard Onyonka, the Kisii senator. But we shall be getting into a number of these things, so be sure to give us your feedback on YouTube. That's at NTV Kenya, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or rather X, TikTok, NTV Kenya across the board, and we shall be sampling some of your views as the show proceeds. And remember, the hashtag is The Last Word NTV. And now, without much ado, it's time for us to talk about those things that have bugged us. First of all, the hot buttons. I'll begin with you, Zaha. Finya.
Well, once again, as every other week, my hot button is against the government. And for me, it's a case of transborder repression. And what I'm asking today is, where is Bob Njagi? Where is Nicholas Oyo? What is the government doing about our siblings somewhere held incommunicado with no legal representation? Since October the 1st, 2025, 4 weeks later, we do not know where Bob Njagi is. We do not know where Nick Oyo is. What exactly is Honorable Musalia Mudavadi doing to get these individuals back in the country? They were arrested, or rather they disappeared after attending a rally with Bobby Wine. After there, no public information has been heard. Amnesty International Kenya is circulating a petition to write to these governments to ask where exactly are these two individuals. And so for me, I have nothing much other than to tell the government, these two individuals are Kenyans and primarily protected by the Constitution for them to be safe anywhere in the world. For the sake of Kenyans, for the sake of these families, bring Bob and Nick back to Kenya safe and sound. That is my hot button.
Well said. And I think interesting is that the government of Kenya, as you've said, has been silent. We have reached out to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Diaspora Affairs to give us a comment. These are Kenyans, you know. Whether they may agree with what they're doing or not is a different story, but these are Kenyans and there are significant concerns. 28 days.
Exactly.
28 days, but the one consistent thing has been silence. Now, for my hot button, the other day we saw the Nyeri governor, Mutahi Kahiga, Mwalimu. I think he was teaching a bad lesson, but nonetheless, Mwalimu was speaking he spoke in a way that was offensive to many.
Yeah.
And the bigger picture is that he started dragging us into this whole tribal discussion. And that night, there were so many people who were already condemning him across the board, right from wananchi, netizens, as we may call them, as well as leaders who decided, you know, you're on your own, we're distancing ourselves from you. We may either come from the same region or we may come from, we may be sitting on the same platforms, for instance, governors, but we don't stand with you on that. So I take you back to June 2024, in that season, when we had the protests, when people were on the streets, the Gen Zs led Kenyans to the streets, demanding a better Kenya. And what was clear was that there was nothing tribal about that.
Exactly.
It was about issues. We've always asked for, give us issue-based politics. So it was brought to us. Interestingly, the politicians, I think, found themselves like fish in the desert. They're like, uku ni wapi? So the politicians went missing because that was a foreign space. They didn't know how to push agenda or to speak up where there's no tribe or regional dynamics. It was just issues. And they were actually kind of afraid. You guys were quite gangster on them, so they didn't know how to really step into that space. Some tried, looking like they are comrades, but at times were told, nah, you're not one of us, And so for me, my issue is above and beyond Mutahi Kahiga. Also, Gladys Wanga, who then became the next person who people were, unhappy with, because when the statements that she and other ODM leaders gave when they were in Kisumu the following morning, spoke to the same narrative of pushing us into a tribal space. And the bigger picture for me is how Kenyans are being pushed back into that tribal space where we are conflating regional needs, unique regional needs, to tribal agenda. So I will not then sit and say, because I am from community ABC, I will support person ABC on account of their tribe. On account of us coming from a similar place. I even dare say friendship is not a quality of leadership. So if Zaha is my friend and you're vying for a certain position, that's not reason enough for me to support you.
Exactly.
Because otherwise I would be imposing a personal preference on people at the expense of the good of the people if you're not worth that.
Well, I think for me, it's another case of the political class not being able to control the masses. And unto you if you think you'll ever put Gen Z in a box. The tribe doesn't matter. The class doesn't matter. I think I remember when we were hearing Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah telling us these Gen Zs come to the protest and they eat KFC and they take pictures in their iPhones and then they go home with their Ubers. I mean, realistically, we're an age that is not compromised by such. We're actually trying to change the relations of politics and how we combine and confine in them. And so I think Mutahi, Wanga, etc., they all are the same fruits of a political structure that has held Kenyans on their necks to perform politics in terms of their tribes. And I think it's high time that changes.
All right, thank you very much. And there could be many things to be said around this, and some of them might eventually come up as we proceed with our conversation tonight, where our issue, what we're trying to have a last word on is, will ODM survive after Raila Odinga's exit? Raila Odinga undisputedly was such a significant figure in Kenyan politics, not just in ODM, in Kenyan politics, Kenya's democracy journey. And having been the party leader, he was one who could call things to order in the party. And I don't know who else has that much sway. Actually, I know none who has that much sway to say that, let's do this. People are complaining, stand down, we are going to handle this. And so we shall be getting our opening comments from some of our panelists or our guests here to just give us a sense of the first thing. Even before we get into will ODM survive, for the benefit of those who may not know, I'll require us to just say, what was your relationship with Raila Odinga? Just so that we can get an understanding. Is he someone who held your hand, etc.? So then we can get the context of why it is, a significant matter to you. And so I think we'll begin with Jared Okello, the Nyando MP. on the same. So, does he have a mic? Yes,
Yeah,
it
he
is.
does.
So, Mheshimiwa, karibu sana.
Thank you, Dan.
What was your relationship with Raila Odinga, just so we can get the context?
Well, thank you very much, Dan, and thanks my sister Zaha for the invitation. Let me begin by a disclaimer that since Baba passed on, this is my very first media interview that I'm carrying out.
Thank you.
Nevertheless, I did receive a lot of media invitations that I respectfully declined because, I was teetering on incoherence, having been disillusioned by the passing on of Baba. To date, the country actually is still very tensed. There's palpable silence, as if our lives have been shattered, our dreams have been compromised. But we know time is usually the best healer. We are going to pick up from the pieces, and our country will definitely remain united because that was Baba's main vision for this country. Now, allow me, on the same breath, therefore, to also send my condolences to the family, headed by Mama Aida, the Olaju Odinga family, the children, Rosie, Junior, and Winnie, for losing such a fabulous daddy. And thank them also for accepting to share part of Baba with the world. Baba's death wasn't stratified along particular ethnic communities or particular countries, but it was universal, and the whole world rallied behind the family, behind Kenya, with messages of commiserations and all that. So, Baba isn't new to any one of us. We started hearing Baba way back when we were in primary schools. And he has walked this journey 4 decades in a row, trying to do what is humanly possible to inject changes into our governance in general. Of course, he is hailed for the new constitution, for his quest for devolution, and purity of our elections. So there are many things that can be written about Baba. Fast forward, when I became a member of parliament in 2017, now that I'm serving my second term, Baba surprised me in the month of March. You remember he had, in 2018, on the 18th to be specific of March, he had a handshake with the former president Uhuru Kenyatta. And a week later, he was traveling to London to deliver a talk at Oxford University. I was still new in Parliament, barely 6 months, and he invited me to accompany him to London so that we could deliver that talk alongside him. And I hadn't been to Oxford, much less London. So we traveled together. I thought we were going to be, a coterie of members of parliament or leaders drawn from various parts of our nation. But when we landed there, it was just Baba, the daughter Winnie, and myself. And I was shocked why he actually picked me for such a trip to a very prestigious university. So then a lot followed, including his address at Chatham House, which usually most world leaders appear before, either to be interrogated on their understanding of governance in London, and many others. So we then had a series of visits with the administration in London, administration in the US, and cutting across other countries, both in the Caribbean and Europe. So Baba, I would say, molded me to be able to meet the international community.
Okay.
And a month later, he made me part of the National Executive Committee of ODM party. So I'm the Secretary of Public Policy and Economic Affairs for ODM party. I thought we were going to be subjected to that rigorous process of election of officials. But then he said, you're gonna take this position and run, the affairs under public policy and economic affairs of our party. Okay. So I would say, in a nutshell, that I have lost not just a role model, but somebody who deliberately chosen to mold me in a way that he thought would be instrumental to the governance of this country. So I know we will be delving into the future of ODM and what it holds, but I can say that Baba has left enough troops to handle that docket. Finally, Dan, Baba, unknown to many, had indicated that he has to be buried within 72 hours. He died in India, and 72 hours, according to his lawyer, started counting from the time that he collapsed. Had it not been for the intervention of President William Samoei Ruto, I cannot fathom what was going to happen for our country. If my community and Baba and I share similar, originality, given that challenge, I do not know whether we were able to marshal enough resources to bring his body in time and be interred within that short span of time. So I think we have to thank our president. Posthumously, he also conferred on him, the chief of the Golden Heart, which is usually not given to any ordinary mortal.
We shall come into, the relationship between
the president
and the party.
Thank you for the opportunity.
We'll pick that up as we proceed.
Thank you.
And I'll request, so very briefly before we take our break, I'll go to Bwana Salasia. Very briefly, what was your relationship with Raila Odinga?
Okay. First of all, I want to take this opportunity to pass my condolences to the family of Mama Ida and the children that he has left behind. Indeed, when I received that news in the morning of the passing of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, I didn't believe, because this is someone that we started growing together, we started growing up, seeing him, and a lot has been happened. So it was very hard for me, myself, to believe that indeed Baba has left us. And it was very painful. In fact, even up to now, it's very hard to believe that Baba is no more. I was just to pray to the family and the entire nation that may God to heal us and forge ahead on the agenda that maybe he really wanted us as a nation to be. Maybe what I can just say, even during his death, there is something that I felt. Baba was beyond ODM. He was a national figure. And I could say that maybe the ODM was a bit selfish to crown him with the staff of ODM. I think maybe it could have been the flag of a national, because we were mourning in all political parties across the country. And even you can see even today in Uganda. So I can say that in my relationship with Baba is that he was my mentor. And I believe since I started politics in 2014, I used to admire his politics. In fact, the principle, I could say that following the principles of Baba Raila. And all along when I vied even in 2017 independent, I was still supporting him, and even during the BBI. And what really made me so happy during that time when they were joining the hands with Uhuru. And all along, what I can just say that maybe, in fact, my dream was to see Baba becoming the president. And I could say there's a lot in the media, maybe to confirm to the nation, when I became so bitter with the handshake, that maybe there isn't one like that. And it was not out of the head or whatever, but I was not satisfied by that particular time that this was the right time for that handshake of the broad-based, whatever. So for me, but I also say maybe it was God's plan, the word Mheshimiwa had just said, imagining maybe if Baba could have in that scenario left us, then, but still also maybe to the people of ODM, maybe I always challenge myself, ask myself a question, that if the Kenya Kwanza maybe could have done what the Baba wanted in the 10-point agenda, maybe Baba could have been happy. And as you can see, when they were mourning, they say that the Gen Z, whatever they were saying, and you heard what was being said, if Kenya Kwanza could have done, committed in doing what Baba had wanted, I think maybe Baba could be more happier, and even we could be even living together with him today, because he'll be a happy man. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Selassie.
Yeah, we'll come back to you, because you're on record hitting out at Baba.
Yeah,
and now you suddenly sound like he was the only hero you knew.
You know, the good thing, the internet and the world never forgets. But we are here today to... No, Selassie. I want to bring in Arnold. Yeah. I want to bring Arnold, and just, I promise I have a set pot for you. Arnold, as you come in, and as we're thinking about our relationship, the relationship you guys have had with Baba, the journey you have walked, what has been your experience? You're a party leader yourself. What does this mean to you?
First of all, I know it's quite stylish at the moment for people to speak about the only good moments they had with Baba. But as a millennial, and I consider myself a vintage millennial, I met Baba for the first time in a demonstration. A demonstration I had organized, and he was the target. When he was the Prime Minister, we were trying to ensure that the National Youth Council is established, and I was leading that particular charge. So we'd done a number of demonstrations across the country, and then no one was listening to us. So when Baba was the Prime Minister, his office at BP and Shell House then, which is now called Harambee House Annex, was the center of all maandamano. So literally there was always a demonstration outside Baba's office. So one day when it was our chance, we also had done the demonstration, we were out there. Then somehow, I don't know whether he was coming from State House, he found us up there. Then they asked us, the usual way they ask vijana, bring your leaders, come upstairs so that we talk. But you know, young people don't trust each other. So we were like, if we pick a few leaders amongst ourselves to go upstairs and have a conversation with him, it will appear that, quote unquote, we've been bought. You realize that that is a recurring theme wherever you are doing organization. So we insisted that we will have to talk to him outside there. We had a megaphone, we had a petition, and we had to read it. But even though I met him physically for the first time in a demonstration I had organized and he was a target, for me, Raila wasn't really a new person in my life, because in high school I did art and design. During our time, art and design had 3 parts. During KCSE, there was the first part where you do a project for about 40 marks. My project was actually my hero, who was Raila Odinga, and I made a bust from clay. And I think Madam Mushira, if she's alive, she will actually confirm that. So for me, he wasn't really...
We'll make sure to confirm.
I don't know whether she's alive, but then I'm saying, for me, the art and design project I did for KCSE was actually a bust for Raila Odinga, because we were told to model and then you fire it up. And I passed art and design, so I am so sure that I did it well, because probably I had socialized well with him. Now, fast forward, like everybody else, during that particular demonstration where we encountered him first, we insisted that he comes out of the vehicle, he listens to us. His handlers didn't like it. We were young and a little bit, we really didn't want to understand. And since the people at the Ministry of Youth, then we called it Moyas, had not treated us so well, we chose one of us whom we thought was a slow speaker. It was deliberately, we said we'll get somebody who stammers to read the statement. On that day, because now Baba is gone, we can always talk. That is how Baba met his first youth director for ODM, called Benson Musungu. Benson Musungu was part and parcel of us. So we chose Benson to read the statement deliberately, because Ben used to stammer. I don't know whether he's changed now. So as a way of ensuring that he takes a lot of time. So that is how he met Ben Musungu, and that is how eventually Ben would become the first youth director for ODM. I think today he's in charge of special projects or something like that. Of course, along the way, I would end up socializing with him much more. When the National Youth Council eventually came into space, I was elected to represent Nairobi and continued to engage with him. At some time, I actually was part and parcel of the team that worked back in 2017. where I also was able to run on ODM before I could switch sides. So I have been on both sides, on Baba's side, as in working with him, and also being against him, and also going back at some point. And that is something people always don't talk about, that when you go back after you have derailed, Baba was always willing to receive you, but then his handlers will teach you a little fear of God.
Well, Kasmul, when I think about the relationship with Baba, you've had a year and some months of this interaction. What changed with you? What happened in this interaction?
First of all, I'd like to begin with condolences to the family, to the Odinga family, to Canon Dr. Aida Odinga, to the new head of the Odinga household, Raila Jr., to Rosemary, to Winnie, and to my party leader, Dr. Oburu Oginga, who has lost a brother yet again. He's had to bury all the patrons and his family. But even before I get to that, I would like to start with a point of correction, because you started with hot takes. It is a popular thing to castigate the national chairperson of the Orange Democratic Movement, and you've done so erroneously, because you have attributed words to her that were not spoken. And it would be nice just for the welfare of the public and for good conscience to prove those allegations. Governor Wanga did not utter any tribal remarks. Neither did she say that anybody should not come to Bondo. And if there's proof, we urge you, because you're a media house and you're a house of records, to prove that. But then now I will go into my relationship.
Sorry, when some of the ODM leaders were saying that, say, Gachagua or whoever is not allowed in...
but you specifically didn't say, you said specifically
let me
the governor.
Finish my question. So
yes.
When they said that, doesn't she have a responsibility as the leader to kind of quell that, so that it doesn't become the narrative that's going?
Dan, I think you're running away from the issue. You said specifically that Governor Wanga said so. So you cannot, on the one hand, sensationalize the public and say that Governor Wanga said. Then when you're asked for accountability, you say some of the ODM leaders. You can call them because you know their names. It is this station. This station was there and it broadcasted the statement. But going to the more important question, my relationship with the Chief of the Golden Hat, His Excellency Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, it comes at a point, it is, when I say this, that after baptism, it is the most pivotal decision I have taken in my life. One, because he saved me. He saved me from the pangs of death, literal pangs of death. When I was being turned into a meme for running into, and the irony is not lost on me that I ran into this very media station. When I was being turned into a meme and people were saying that I should participate in the Olympics, it is that man who, against all odds, at the time when Kenyans had cancelled me, who took me up under his wing and mentored me. And I have learned a lot. I have drawn so much from his fount of wisdom, and I have seen the heart he has for young people. His Excellency had a burden for young people. Maliba has told you the story of how they went for demonstrations, and Ben Musungu currently is in Chungwa. Every young legislator in this country could trace their way. Every progressive legislator in this country could trace their way to His Excellency. Even as late as recently, we have seen the emergence of people who are in his background, and a lot more of such leaders are going to emerge. And I would like to draw a special notice to my elder brother, Salah Okech, who has been working a lot in the background. Now we can see him even thrusting himself forward in pushing the party and strengthening it. My relationship has been deeply informative. It has been from a point of a leader, a mentor, a patriarch, but also a father. I knew Baba treated me as you would a child. There are several blunders that I made in my leadership journey. There are several statements that I put out that might not have boded very well, but he took it in stride and he took it in grace. And I'm a proud product of his mentorship. I've known him for a year and a week before his passing. Even before he came, we were working on the intergenerational conclave, which is a thing that he was passionate about. He wanted the country to speak with itself. Yeah. He wanted us to specifically work on this broad-based agenda, which a lot of people look at it, but it's the 10-point MOU, he was very passionate about it. And later, we will speak about his views on Article 37. I could wax lyrical and mourn my leader, but words fail me because he is a man that cannot be eulogized, even if I were given the entire Nairobi River for ink and the government road for parchment as a tabula rasa. So I pray that God continues to rest his soul in perfect peace.
All right.
Casmuel, and I've worked with you, right? And I want us to take this opportunity together with the panelists to just listen from Kenyans. And as we continue, I think ODM, it started from 2005 as the Orange Democratic Movement. Then we went to 2007 when we had Raila become the Prime Minister. Then we had 2010 come in when it came to the constitutional referendum. And then it was promulgated on the August of 27th. Then we had ODM change into CORD coalition in 2013. Then it came to NASA coalition in 2017. Then it came to the handshake with former President Uhuru Kenyatta in March 2018. Then we had Azimio la Umoja coalition 2022. And now we have a broad-based government system 2025. The audience within your seats is a placard to vote. And the question of today is very critical. Will ODM party survive now that we have lost Raila Odinga? Do the citizens in this room believe that ODM will survive? Green for yes, it will survive. Red for no, it won't survive. Let's see your votes.
All right, we have quite a number of, it's almost split in half. Let's keep them up for a bit.
Yeah.
Almost split in half. We have guys who are saying it won't survive, and there are those who say it will. They're saying the opposite.
There's a mic around you. Let's hear from the audience. I think we'll
Just
start with
before that, I would again, because this is the last word,
yes.
You have made an erroneous claim. You have said that ODM changed. The Orange Democratic Movement has always been the Orange Democratic Movement. It entered into coalitions and several political formations.
That's exactly what I said.
No, that's not it, because we'll replay the clip. I'm
That's
actually
fine.
paying
I said
attention.
it entered into a coalition, and I've mentioned
you
the
did
coalition.
not, because that makes the question biased. And two, it is not a split. There was 9 for it will survive and 7 for it will not.
All right, back to the main question, because I feel you might have missed something she said, but either way, we will not dwell on the minors. So let's have someone who thinks it will not survive. A red. Let's have a red. Let's have a mic.
Yes,
the mic go to.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh yes, he has the mic there. Please introduce yourself then. Yeah.
Okay, my name is Samuel Jobunga. I'm the chairperson of the Revolutionary Students Commission, a student wing of the Communist Party Marxist Kenya. My reason why ODM won't survive because Raila, may his soul rest in peace. I want to offer condolences to the family, to the Mama Ada Odinga. So let me go to why it won't survive. When you see the history of Raila, from 1994, he came into limelight from 2005. That's when he became the father of politics in Kenya. And there are so many people who we know that survive under the name Raila in Nyanza region. People like James Mbadi, people like James Orengo, people like Elisha Cheng, the MP of Game. And when you see these tendencies that Raila gained fame and he tended to commodify the fame. And ODM became, I'm sorry to say it, a party of the rich. And you couldn't buy the tickets without having money. And so the people who were working for the people were not getting any chance. But these people who have money, who have stolen from the government countless times, like Evans Kidero.
So sorry, let me ask, what makes you say that people would buy? Do you have any kind of evidence
like
to that?
Raila didn't used to spend much in his campaign. Yeah.
So do you have anything that can substantiate that?
Yeah, like during the party tickets, party primaries. Yeah? Yes, because I have an experience in Game. I come from Game constituency. My party leader, Bukangesa, stood in, for MP in Game Siaya. So when you look at these tendencies, and that time, I think it was on 2017, when they're competing against Jacoyo Midio, Elisha Ochieng, and Bukangesa. And Elisha Ochieng took the ticket.
Why do you think he took it? Because he was rich?
And he had the backing of Evans Kidero. That was the governor there.
Interesting. Let's get a yes. You have the mic. Why do you think ODM will survive?
I think as a nation and as the youth, this is a national television. We should not entertain rumors that ODM is a party for the rich. So when Raila supported Babu with nothing, he had money. When Raila supported,
let's focus on your point.
Keep quiet. ODM will survive. ODM spirit is rooted on the people, on the cause. Don't confuse it to pure theatrics and empty bravado you want to spread on media. ODM is rooted on what next after we achieve whatever we achieve now. That is what ODM is rooted for. You know, you have a conflict of interest between your small party and a party that has the vision of producing a president.
So why do you think it will survive? And
ODM will survive because ODM, the structure that has been built and formed there, is a structure that is supported by the ground, not by the leader they say. ODM has been removing leaders who do not work and empowering young leaders. So when I hear my brother here saying that ODM will not
Can you
work,
give an example of those structures?
I'll give you an example. I'll start with the SG Sifuna. Sifuna was taken from university and he was mentored to becoming the SG. Opio Wandai was taken from university, mentored and then taken, and he's now the CS. Nairobi CC for Mobility and Works, taken from high school, is now the CC.
Aren't they politicians? I remember you saying ODM is grounded in the people. Do we have reference of structures where ODM supports the people? And can you counter it?
ODM supports the people. It's sponsoring students in universities. It has been mentoring students to go and achieve higher education. Which party in Kenya has done that? Let us not come on national television and start spreading malice.
Okay, I hear you. And national media does not spread malice. What we're trying to do is the truth. You're listening to Mwananchi.
Don't allow Mwananchi to spread rumors on a TV.
Mwananchi has an opinion.
That's not an opinion.
We'll take another no. Why do you think at the back there I think we have?
Okay, my name is Timmy Steve. Okay, from the academic citadel of ACA. And I think that most probably ODM will not survive, since looking at how the campaigns are being handled, how the elections are being done, more so from Nyanza, being a man from Nyanza, there is a certain competition for politicians to get to that ticket. And from what we see, from what I've seen all along, there is a stiff competition, and it seems that there is greed also involved. Since when everybody wants it, then I don't think anybody will get it. And right now, as you see, at least we can say that when our Right Honorable Raila was still present, so sorry to the family for the loss, and also to Kenya for the great challenge, and also to the ODM party. And we realized that when Right Honorable was still alive, he used to hold it with his principles. He used to hold it and bring people together. But at this moment, the reason why I think it will not survive, there is no one to bring people together, to tell them this is right, and everybody is looking up to be the person that will guide this thing. Okay. That's the reason why I think it will not survive.
Let's
Thank
have a lady
so much.
too. we do have ladies in the room. You're supporting no?
Yeah.
I think the other lady, you're supporting yes? Okay.
Let's start with the yes.
Let's start with the yes, then we come to that. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Nehema Rotich, and I would say yes, and I would be on logic. In a family, if a father dies, it doesn't mean that the family stops running. There must be somebody who can rise and take up the matters of the family. And therefore, it does not mean that now, since we have lost Baba, there is no one who is going to arise. So it means that if one is going to arise and be strategic as Papa used to be, and build on the legacy that Baba used to build on, then ODM can survive. So the question is, how strong are they to stand on it? And that is the thing that calls to the survival of the ODM. It can still survive when they arise.
All right.
My name is Anne Kimberly, a law student at Jomo Kenyatta University, and I would want to expressly say ODM will not survive for a very explicit reason. When ODM was formed, it was a political party that stood on ideologies. Over time, ODM grew to become a personality-driven cult. ODM was there because of Raila Amolo Odinga. Many would be asked and would say, ODM is Raila and Raila is ODM. I've grown up in a family where ODM reigns. I've grown up in a family where Odingaism is there. So I can strictly say people support ODM not because of the ideologies it stands for. My good brother said ODM stands for a cause, and that's why it will remain. And I would expressly ask him, what cause does ODM stand for? What is the ideology? And you'll get time to answer that as I proceed. ODM was there because of Raila Amolo Odinga. And also my good sister said, when somebody died in when a father dies in a house, an apparent heir is supposed to rise. And according to, let's say, because the ODM is rooted in the African culture, the apparent heir is supposed to be coronated very quickly. And during this period of time, we come to the realization of who can match the charisma of Raila Amolo Odinga. Is it Kasmuel? Is it Sifuna? Is it Babu Owino? Who can match the charisma of Raila Odinga? I think, and I can expressly say, nobody can match the charisma of Raila Amolo Odinga. So ODM dies with him. ODM might split, ODM might venture into other things. Some of the ODM members might become political orphans because they won't have anywhere to go because they used to cling on Baba's court. Yeah, that's all I have to say. ODM might survive.
Thank you so much. I think I'll bring it back to the panel, and I'd love the mic to go to Kasmuel. And Kasmuel, also retaliating that I didn't say ODM changed. I mentioned the coalitions it changed within, just in case maybe you didn't catch me. But I want to know, how then will ODM redefine its accountability and movement character now that Baba is gone? This is a party that is now known to handshake every single time, every single regime. Baba had a unifying factor. Members of the ODM party have proven beyond count that they will go where it serves them best. How then does ODM look at refining its accountability as you continue this journey of survival and structure in making sure the party exists?
First of all, the ODM does not need to redefine anything because the Orange Democratic Movement has such plain ideology. We are a center-left party that is rooted in social democracy. So we don't need to reinvent the wheel there.
So what is the ODM ideology, Kasmuel?
That's what I just said. In case you missed it, we are social democrats. And we believe in civic republic. We believe in the civic republic. So we do not need to reinvent that wheel. So we believe in the welfare of the people. We believe in that education and basic rights should be availed by the state. We believe that is what ideology is. And a lot of the time, people usually say ideology to seem like issues. You know, there are issues and there are ideologies, and that is part of what we need to learn how to differentiate. That last year, for example, in the People's Popular Uprising, we were united on the issues and not on ideology. That is why, for example, and my good comrade is doing a good job. However, there are some holes in the arguments that you've made in the popular struggle, because if you cannot understand, for example, the contradictions that are happening in the communist, last year you were the Communist Party of Kenya, a split happened, individual interests took charge, and you became the Communist Party Marxists. But now going back to my party, there's nothing we need to reinvent. You speak about handshakes. It is a devious question, because these handshakes do not come off themselves. You cannot on the one hand say that we believe Raila was this amazing leader, and every single time he presented himself, 5 times he presented himself on the quest of presidency, and he was failed by the population. People look and castigate him for saying that he gets into handshakes. He did not become prime minister out of his own doing. He became prime minister because the democracy of our country failed him.
It was after the post-election violence.
It was not after that. The post-election violence did not cause themselves. It's like saying people died of protests. It was because his election was stolen.
Okay.
His election was stolen, and he has to enter into a grand coalition. And we are trying to make this look like he was cutting a deal. He was saving the country. The next time he goes, and you see that when he comes back in 2014 after where they went with Mheshimiwa Jared, the country is in such turmoil. His people brave it, and they come and they rescue it from... in the first term of Uhuru, they did not do a handshake. They just challenged these elections. In 2017, when we have an nullified election, the ODM had the nerve, the mettle, the principle to stay away from a sham election and say that we shall not participate. That was not Raila Odinga's decision solely. It was him as our flag bearer, but the party said, we refuse to participate. And the next time he shows up, now he shakes Uhuru's hand. During these really tumultuous times, he had already proven that he would steer the country into a different direction. He's not availed that opportunity. Okay. In 2024, when our country is on the brink of collapse, when all these young people, because I remember all of you from the streets, he gets into that arrangement after we have told him, Baba, stay at home, we do not need you in the streets. Then, yes, now we get into the broad-based government because you want to make it look like an animal. How does the Orange Democratic Movement enter into the broad-based government? It enters there through a signed memorandum of understanding. Okay. What are the points in that memorandum of understanding? The first one is implementation of the NADCO. The NADCO report arises from the popular uprising led by the Orange Democratic Movement against the cost of living in 2023. The second point in that memorandum of understanding is saying that we need to lower the cost of living. The third point, which goes into that memorandum of understanding, and I could go all the way up to 10, says we need... No. Let me just, let me tell you. I'm telling you now, because you can't press. I have to say it. Let me learn. The third one, the memorandum of understanding says we need meaningful public inclusion in public life. How different are these from these issues that we are saying that we need to advocate for the interests of the youth? You cannot say that there's a broad-based arrangement in ODM. We don't just enter because we wanted a deal. We enter with conditions. The only way, and we've said we'll stay in this arrangement, because there's a caveat to this broad-based arrangement, that from the Orange Democratic side, we stay in this arrangement up to 2027 if these things are actualized. And you saw the top brass yesterday student said that we remain in this arrangement and we still support it. 2, these things are being actualized, but they're being fought by propaganda. We as the young people are the same people who say that we want victims, at the very least, of protests to, 1, be acknowledged, we find legislative and legal redress for them, and at the very least, some form of financial reprieve. This is part of our agenda. On the one hand, we say we want that, we want to take more innocent people to die on the streets, and on the other hand, when Baba risks his whole reputation and says that we need to form a panel, we say it is unconstitutional. So we cannot speak from both sides as citizens or as media personalities, think that we will press and say, when did we give the Orange Democratic Movement power and the Orange Democratic Movement abused it? It has not happened yet. And
so that's why I'm asking Kasmuel, yes, because you have synthesized, discussed and deliberated a fatigue of unfulfilled revolutions, of which you have confirmed that ODM presents, which is accurate.
Right.
The question is, yes, with all these agreements, is there anything ODM pushed or has pushed for that has been achieved?
Yes.
Which example?
We have a panel that's what I was saying, that is being fought on the compensations of victims.
So it's being fought till now.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Kasmuel.
Yes. The Orange Democratic Movement is pushing for these reforms, but
so
you cannot just
happened.
wish.
Is that what I'm hearing?
No. You're trying to, you're doing this form of pressing journalism that does not work in, these are human rights, Zaha. This is not a theoretical paper. These are lives we are talking about, transforming lives. As a party that has not yet captured power, I can tell you these are the directions we've taken.
How have you not
we have
captured
ensured,
power?
let me tell you cannot, that is a tricky question. How have you not captured power? Because we were not voted in. We cannot be this elementary. Let me explain.
You are in a broad-based government,
This is why I need you to do your research, because then you have not, because if you understand this memorandum of understanding, we have not been given power to exercise. What we can do, what we have done for our people and for the people of Kenya is we have ensured a panel has been instituted that will go not even up to not only 2024 or 2023, that will go as far as 2017. We are reaching out to those families. We are the only party, by Jove, that has gone and condoled with families, only mainstream party that has condoled with families of people who have died in protest. We have borne the brunt of this. I can tell you, if you look at the best performing members of parliament, if you look at the top 10, we have a bulk of them. If you look at the best performing counties, you will have one, we have the second one. If you look at all these things, the question you're trying to ask, you want a yes or no, answer to a question that needs context.
So that we can have other panelists come in. What I'm trying to get from you is that with the 10 points agenda that the ODM party entered the government in, nothing has been implemented. So the question Kenyans are asking is, who then implements it now that Baba is no longer with us? And I'll have to bring in other panelists.
If you have to bring in other panelists, do not ask a question, because the whole point of the last word is we are supposed to elucidate this. As uncomfortable as it is, it was not just Baba who entered that MOU. We entered as a party, and they are being pursued right now as we speak. So we have victims who we are going to pursue compensation. What are other parties doing? We are still doing that as a party, and it was not dependent on Baba alone. Don't try to narrow the conversation. Let's not make it unfair for the party.
There's no need to be overly combative. Allow me to just bring in Mheshimiwa Okello, because he sits in some space of leadership in ODM, and I believe he'd have more insight into the actual workings of the party right from years ago. And Okello, do you feel that the things that ODM has been fighting for, I mean, we are yet to get anywhere with them in terms of none of them has been actualized?
Well, I thank you once again, Dan. Firstly, to be deluded into thinking that Baba's demise hasn't shaken the party will be a mirage. We have been shaken from the deepest of the core. We have lost balance as a party. And do not forget that we just buried him under a week ago. So to come forward and to claim normalcy under the circumstances is a lie to ourselves. Baba has walked this journey, and I'm very, very happy that in his corner, he has trained so many politicians, people who aligned with his policies, people who aligned with his thought processes, and are now able to carry the mantle, whereas his shoes were too big for everybody. We will try the much we can to try to patch up where necessary so that we can walk this journey. But we also have to remember that when he was signing this accord with President William Samoei Ruto, we did not have a functional IEBC. And you remember there has been a pronouncement by a court of law that IEBC is not the secretariat, IEBC is the commissioners. And that is an authority stemming from our courts of law. So when Baba reached out to President William Ruto, stemming from the chaos that we had in the month of June, which climaxed on the 25th of June when we were visited in Parliament, Baba made a commitment that we must have a functional IEBC. Remember, there are certain constituencies like Banisa and Magarini, which for the last 2 years do not have representation. And you can imagine how disenfranchised those electorates are, without any leadership, without anyone advocating for their plight in the National Assembly. So with Baba's rapprochement with the president, they were able to put up a working IEBC, and it is now fully constituted. And that therefore informs our elections, our by-elections slated for the 27th of November. Had it not been that coalition between the two, we would still be lingering in some limbo. But now we have an IBC as a result of their agreements. You also have to remember that Baba has always advocated for devolution. In fact, he died preaching the tenets of devolution to his last breath on earth. On the 30th of June, and this is on record, the CS for Treasury, John Mbadi, was able to release all the monies accruing from the devolution funds to all the counties on the 30th of June. And remember, this is when we move into a new financial year. So the year 2024-2025 monies were expended to counties on the 30th of June, on the dot, all of it. So we then started a new year on a new slate. Had it not been for the working relationship between the two, and probably having Honorable Mbadi as an expert within the Treasury, we would still be agonizing when these monies will be taken to county. And we've had backlogs over backlogs. And that also extended to the NGCDF, which for the longest we have had to wait till a new year dawns before clearing the previous year's backlogs. But on the 30th of June, as monies were going to the counties, NGCDF was also paid in full. There is the element of, which was also part of what was signed, that the human rights must be given prominence. And that also spoke about the abductions, the wanton abductions that culminated our systems from the Gen Z protests. And you remember, even in the presence of the president while in Homo Bay, the Prime Minister told the president to his face that abductions must stop. He never minced his words. He never beat about the bush. He was so direct with the president, and thank God, the abductions stopped. We are, agonizing with our two brothers who went to Uganda, and my sister Zaha did put it quite, categorical that our government needs to do much more to make sure that these two people are brought back into our country, or at least be produced before a court of law in Uganda, so that they can be properly represented. I do know that there was an application on corpus habeas to produce either their bodies or themselves before the court of law, and the court in Uganda trashed.
It dismissed it.
Yeah, because they said they did not advance enough evidence pointing towards the presence of this duo in Uganda. Well, these countries have various legal interpretations. I think if that was in Kenya, then our judges would have had a different interpretation on the same.
Okay.
But that is Uganda. We also have to respect the sovereignty of nations. But we hope and pray that our brothers are safe wherever, and that they will be brought back into this country safe and be reunited with their families.
All right.
So we have had a huge catalog of certain things that certain times go unnoticed, that as a result of the two coming together, the former Prime Minister, now deceased, and President William Ruto, we have seen gigantic steps towards progress. And therefore, we cannot say that that rapprochement resulted into nothing. We have really seen quite a lot happening. You even look at and this was on our dailies, including the Nation media, newspapers, the roads that are going to be done by both Kera and Kenha. And these are bitumen standard roads. And you can see how they have been distributed across the country evenly. I mean, this is a break from the past, where roads and all development projects were only targeted at particular people. And mostly, those who knew how to sing better are the tune of the government. But now, with the current understanding, we have had resources evenly spread across our nation. And we hope that the funds will also follow those functions.
Okay.
So that at least our country can have a semblance of equity in distribution of national resources.
All right, thank you. I want to come to Bona Salasia. And first, let's address the issue that we had spoken about earlier. We mentioned where you had been very boldly criticizing Raila Odinga, and it put you in trouble with some of his followers. You went for football match. You know, you are dealt with. Let's put it that way. Walideal na wewe. But now you're coming and I'm not saying that you shouldn't say positive things, but it almost looks like there's a sense of hypocrisy where on one end you've been throwing stones at him, then when things change, you begin to change tune.
First of all, I really wanted to refrain myself from talking about ODM because of the timely death of Baba, but I'll try to speak as now ODM and not about Baba, because ODM is here with us. Number one, what I would want to say is that I'm one of the few leaders who followed Baba Raila Odinga because of the principles. And I still believed in those principles that this was the right direction that Baba could have taken. I think that one, that was my position. And even up to now. And remember, even when Kenya is playing in this country, we put across that this player comes from this region, this player comes from this region. We all unite as a nation to celebrate the Harambee Stars when it's playing, and we unite together. We can differ in political ideas, but when it comes to life and about the nation Kenya and about the life of an individual, then it comes to be the responsibility of every Kenyan. And so we could have differed maybe politically on ideologies because of the going against maybe the principle that I had, because my principle was that I wanted to see Baba Raila Odinga becoming the president. And even when he was going for the AU, because by that time I was also serving as in the Committee of Regional Integration, and I really knew one or two things that had not been done by the ruling government that they could have ought to be done, that could have guaranteed Baba to win the AU seat in Addis Ababa. So those were my preservation, and I really, because I can tell, like even towards the end of everything, Baba, maybe wherever he is, he will realize that he was having so many parasites around him, and they really didn't want him to be the president of this republic. I think if I could have been the advice of Baba, I think I could be caning people seriously, because I was seeing serious blunders, every blunders. And even I remember in 2018, and I think even I myself, I'm always overwhelmed in leadership. Because you know, like sometimes there are things that you as a leader, you need to be reminded, no, do this, do this. You remember even in 2017 or 2018 when they entered the Uhuru into the partnership, the handshake, and there were issues to talk about the IBC reforms and all that. But you realize that the advisors, people who are closer to him, they will tell you that they never maybe reminded him that we have to fix the IBC reforms before we get into 2022 election. And remember, even during that time, you find like there are those monies that people are saying agents were not being paid, but money were being given. So I know, and this is what tells me always, that if I could have been closer to Baba, I think today Baba could have been the president of the Republic of Kenya.
Salasia, which political party are you in?
You see, I've said, let me tell you.
Which, I usually ask very direct questions.
Okay,
Which
I'm in DAP party, but I'm in DAP, but because I remember when we started this conversation, I said that ODM was selfish during Baba, because Baba was bigger than ODM. And
do you think in the political climate that we have, do you think DAP will survive?
DAP. Have you called me to discuss DAP, or we are discussing?
No,
let me answer.
It's a political conscious question, because
okay.
as we're speaking to ODM and listening to these insights, you are in a political party.
Yes.
The structures that we're trying to see in understanding, in asking and analyzing matters ODM, don't they, however, somehow, somewhat apply to you as well?
Definitely yes, because politics is about the game of interest, and I can tell you that
interest of who?
The interest, there's party leader of the parties, the party leader definitely. Yeah, because who is the owner? Definitely, they will always say that the owner of this party, the owner of this party is this and this. So you, as a party leader, you must also play your cards right to make sure that your house is in order. If you don't play it right, then you will be overwhelmed by the pressure from outside. Let me now get to the answer, because you have asked me about the issues of ODM. Because me, I liked Raila, and even today when I'm like 100%. It's just like I was bitter because I realized that there were some people who were around him but didn't want to see him getting there. Now, my point is this, and I want to come to the Mheshimiwa, what the Mheshimiwa said. People in ODM, they are more, they are selfish in such a way that they want everything. Remember, when I just want to give a very good scenario. Like right now, you find like we are in the parliament. And I think after the death of Baba, it was the time for the ODM fraternity to sit down as a house and ask themselves a question. What Baba wanted to achieve, have we achieved? What were the mistakes that we did commit that didn't make him not to get whatever he wanted to? So, and they didn't do it. And my question is, he has talked about the strengthening of the devolution. Right now, as we speak, this nation is in problem. And he will not tell you. He's just talking about that he paid the whole monies up to June. Remember, these they are saying that if they are really true, we have the senators, very vibrant senators, Kina Sifuna, Kina Olekina, and everyone. After they get what they want, they forget about the principles, as they say, of ODM. Look, right now since July, the counties have been paralyzed. July, August, September. And these are independent institutions, independent governments. They have been locked. They are only getting salaries for the counties, which means people are being paid for not working. And now you are saying that you believe in strengthening of devolution. It means that we have lost the priority. We have lost what is supposed to be done. Now look, because of the EGP, instead of the ODM telling the people, we had even the pilot study, these things were not completed, counties were not ready to use the EGP. Now all the 47 counties have been paralyzed through the EGP thing. Number two, you ask, and I want to compliment what you asked about the 10-point agenda. You ask yourself, what have we been able to achieve within those 10-point? Totally nothing that has been achieved, apart from the expert. So to me, what I can say, ODM that time, the experts were donated. And I have to say this because I think, and I say, and I want to say, that because these people really didn't want Baba to see his dream. Like a person like me, I really wanted to see him to be the president. So he decided, now, let me donate these people who are disturbing me. Now, these people, they went. Look, chairman, Paranya went. You see, now who is going to control Western? You see, Joe went, the top player. You know, when we were in high school, we were going for the top players. We are running for top players. We have tumepanga like Sahani. So that one now, all the top player of ODM went. The top player, Kinambadi chairman, people of the voice, people when they speak, but now they will not tell you, like, Mary, we are in this. Now look at this party, is confused. Right now, we are in parliament. And I think right now, and I want mine, I'm trying to refrain myself so much. I'm trying to, so that I don't hurt anyone. You look at the parliament right now. The parliament is confused as it is. Like right now, if members of parliament, they want to speak, they will come to through my WhatsApp and tell Mheshimiwa, say this. because the ODM cannot speak. They will say, and they are very vengeful.
Why?
If you don't follow their way.
Where are they afraid?
Look, somebody like Peter Salasya here has suffered under the hands of ODM. Look, when I was in the committee, I was just like, well, by that time, maybe I'm a very social person. I was just working with the Sudi, not doing whatever. But just because I was found with him working, no, but I was not doing anything. Was removed from all good committees. Agriculture, we were with the gentleman, Mheshimiwa Jared Okello. I was removed in regional integration, regional development, just because, you see, like right now, they are in government, they are in opposition. So they have brought a lot of in fact, they are the biggest contributors of how the parliament is looking confused as it is right now.
Okay. Let me come to Maliba. Yes, you have your views ready. Shoot.
Thank you very much. To answer the question whether ODM survives after Baba's death, you will need to understand ODM and understand Baba. But before I speak of that, allow me just to respond to three things. I have seen literally all members of parliament are eulogizing Baba and saying how he brought them up, helped them. There's one project Baba left unfinished. It was the scrapping of CDF. If there's anything members of parliament need to do, now that they are eulogizing Baba, is to do away with that particular thing called NGCDF.
There is no reply, Salasya.
Now,
We'll come back to Salasya.
Secondly, to respond to that, I heard Mheshimiwa Jared Okello speak about the 72 hours Baba had given, and that he was very grateful for the state and the support they gave him. I am a little bit sad because probably as much as Mheshimiwa Jared speaks of having been close to Baba, he probably did not know Baba properly or did not appreciate what Baba was. You know, Baba tells us about the people. We the people. The preamble in the Constitution is not just a poem. It's the summary for the whole Constitution. So, as much as Baba said about his will spoke about 72 hours, what these guys did not know is that Baba also knew that there is the people's 72 hours. So, as in, Baba hadn't consulted us because even Baba in his own lifetime never attended a funeral like his. If he was alive, he would have understood the challenges we had. So there's the people's 72 hours. And even if the state had not given Baba a state send-off, we would still have given him the people's state send-off because we are the sovereign. Even if they had refused to give him military honors, we would still have given him the people's military honors, including the CGH that he was given. As in, Baba was not accorded the respect he was given as a favor. Baba earned it because he embodied the second liberation. None of us feels like Baba alifanyiwa a favor. So when you want to thank the government, there's the people's 72 hours, there's the people's state burial, everything. He was the people's president. So a little bit I feel sad that as much as Mheshimiwa Jared is sad, he probably is very sad and forgot who Baba really was. Then finally, before I get to saying what, looking at ODM, let me just speak about ODM directly. You know, when you look at ODM, if it will survive or not, you need to understand what ODM was. ODM had three pillars. The first pillar was for the ideologues, the people who believe in ideology, the strong social democrats, the center of the left that Raila represented, the very spirit that gave us the second liberation, the ideologues, Baba himself, the Sifunas of this world, the Orengos, the Anyang and others. That is one pillar of ODM. Then there was the pillar of the people who brought in money. The Cash Money Brothers and others, the resource arm. That was the second arm for ODM. It's important for a movement to actually have support for resources. There are guys who are in ODM courtesy of one thing, that they had resources. Then there's the third arm in ODM. That third arm, I call it the arm of violence, the arm of enforcement, the arm of the masses. Now, these three pillars are essential, but they are not sufficient in and of themselves because they needed the overarching umbrella of Raila Odinga, the person of Raila Odinga, who made these three ingredients make a party. Why do I say that? Because ODM, outside of KANU, there is no other party that was, I'm talking about KANU of old. The present day KANU is just a CBO. So, because ODM has attempted to do, I'm a party leader, it's a new party that we are building, and I desire to build a party that looks like ODM, because ODM has actually done elections. It will go to the grassroots. Long time ago when I was sick and probably mad, I was a member of UDA. And we tried to do elections in that party. And that is how that party died, including chasing of their number 2. So I know, because I've been a member of ODM and other organizations when I'm not so well. And I know when I speak about what ODM is. So once you understand what ODM is, then you realize this. Then you also have to understand who Baba is. Baba is much bigger than ODM, way far. ODM is just one of Baba's legacies. But technically, ODM was a tick on Baba. ODM was a parasite that found life and relevance from siphoning blood from Baba. And like the Swahilis say, ukitegemea uji wa mgonjwa, mgonjwa akifa unakufa. Mgonjwa akipona unakufa. So, ODM as a parasite that depended on Baba. Once the host dies, the parasite inaweza kuzunguka around for a couple of years. Like for example, ODM is the great-grandchild of Ford Kenya. Ford Kenya is around. You can decide what it is, whether it's a county-based organization or a community-based. You decide. So ODM as a great-grandchild of Ford Kenya, you know what Ford Kenya under Jaramogi was. So you are going to see a number of things move around. You're going to see a little bit of activity. You're going to see a little bit of passion. So what remains today is the memory of what ODM was, because those 3 elements that I've spoken about that make ODM were only based on one anchor, and that was Raila Odinga, without which ODM is not able to work. So of course, that then brings me to the person of Raila Odinga. There's one thing people have spoken about, and a lot of times people do not understand Baba, especially when they speak about handshakes. You know, a lot of times, and I see a lot of people who are on social media here, we speak of Kenya as the capital of Africa. It's not just cliche. If you look at demographics, Kenya is actually Africa's capital. For this reason, that we have got Bantus here, we have got Kushites here, we have got Nilotes here, we have got people from North Africa who came by ship, we have got Arabs here who call this home.
Semites?
There is no other country in Africa that has got, and I'm talking about not special cases like South Africa and Liberia, I'm talking about original African countries. There is no other African country that has got as many African ethnicities gathering in one nation as Kenya. It's only second to Uganda. So one thing that Baba mastered was something that we call consensus building as a skill in leadership. Consensus building here, you're talking about collaborative problem solving skills. Because when you bring together all these people in nationalities and you cannot have a majority, people will have to collaborate and work. And that is the ingredient Baba brought in. Today you might not find so many people in ODM who are able to do that. So now, having understood all that, now you can come to the question, will ODM survive going forward? ODM died on the morning Baba died. What you have now are memories, echoes, shadows. Kanu is about 62, 65 years old. We still have got Kanu moving around. Nowadays, you look at that cockerel, it looks like it's featherless. Even KFC is much stronger than Kanu's cock. You can see Ford Kenya is still around, moving around. Some other older parties like Safina, for example. We have got about 103 political parties that are fully registered and about 140 others that are in the process of being registered. You do not know so many parties. So, technically, ODM, the party that Baba had founded, is not there. So, at the moment, it will find a new host, and that new host is William Ruto. Ndio hiyo parasite itaenda kukunywa damu hapo kidogo ikisurvive in the meantime. But in the long term, there's no ODM. So, short term, you are going to see a little bit of movement and activity. Kupe ikitoka kwa ngombe wakati ule ngombe imekufa, hiyo kupe inaweza tembea hata wiki mzima bado. And wiki politically could be up to 2027. But beyond that, unless a miracle happens, and by the way, miracles do happen. There's even a church called Maximum Miracle Center. So probably miracles could happen after that. But from where I sit, there is nothing called ODM going forward after that. If you look at those ingredients and how they made ODM a party.
Okay, before we come to a close, we've got a few guys who want to, I'll give you a minute each. The guys they've got some guys with red and some guys with green. Let's first of all give a chance to those who have not spoken. So let's take from that side. Let's pass the mic behind. and I'll give you a very short time so we can be able to come to a close. Just stand up and...
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, my condolences to the family of Raila Amolo Odinga. By name, I'm Albert Ooko, a student from Technical University of Kenya. What I want to say about ODM, you see, as a matter of fact, these are speculations. It's either it's going to fall or it will be there. So as to my opinion, I'm saying ODM will be there, but it will diminish. Like, for example, I think today I saw the ODM party, I think Sifuna, giving a statement about the partnership of broad-based government and the UDA. So I'm like, suppose Raila was alive, would there have been such a statement or press? So ODM, it will be there, yes, but with time, it's going to be swallowed. Like, for example, when you're going to the period of 2027 election, it will merge with UDA. Like, there is an ideology also in my place. I come from rural areas. Like, people are voting in the village, and they had the ideology of, we vote ODM 6-piece because Baba will be on the ballot. And we are going to have a leader like a presidential candidate. So if we vote ODM, they will support Baba. So like now, what are they going to vote for? ODM to support who?
Okay, let's move let's pass it quickly so we can...
Thank you. My name is Innocent Wanyonyi, and I'll be quick. So there's this verse in the Bible that says that I will strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. And I think that Bible verse became real some weeks ago, or was it last week, when Baba rested in India. And with Baba, as Salasia said, Baba was bigger than ODM, but ODM was not bigger than Baba, and ODM was Raila Amolo Odinga. And when Baba rested, immediately the orange turned bitter. And that is the reason why we are seeing all these strangles over here. ODM used to be a party, I'm saying used deliberately, used to be a party that promoted democracy, used to be a party that listened to the people. It used to fight for the rights of people. But right now, the fighting that we are here is, we can see Kasmuel is fighting, he's just fighting. He's not fighting for the rights of anything or anyone, he's just fighting. And this is the thing that we have seen, which I believe that will be the end of ODM. You see, there is a phrase that says that when the tides go low, those who are swimming naked will be exposed. In ODM, there were some people who used to depend on the name of Raila Amolo Odinga, who used to insult Raila for political gain, and who used to praise him for political gain. Now that the shepherd himself has gone, the writing is on the wall. Okay. And if they do not put their work in order, the writing is on the wall. Mene, mene, tekel. Thank you.
All right. Very briefly, so we can... If you had 4 points, combine into one.
I'll try. Thank you. I am Mongari Okiro. So firstly, we're actually getting political thought from parties we do not know names from, so it's actually laughable. Secondly, people from DAP are mourning more than the bereaved. And when he says Kasmuel is fighting, when you pinch us, don't we feel pain? When you tickle us, don't we laugh? So therefore, if you go for ODM's neck, the people in ODM are well within their rights to fight for their party. Secondly, Baba was big. We are not disputing that. And therefore, when he has left, definitely it will be hard for ODM to replace the person Baba was. And we are all in agreement here, whether you are Raila Mani or Raila phobia, it will be hard. But then he has left ODM with structures. If these structures will withstand the test of time, then we will see it. Lastly, as I tie on my rebuttal, just a minute.
You have a whole scroll.
Yes. My advice to also young people, here I've noticed, we enjoy the comfort of opinion without the discomfort of thought. If you were to have an opinion, extend your faculties to rigorous research and thought. Lastly, when you say that there is competition, when Raila was leaving Ford,
there was competition for Ford, and therefore all political parties must face competition or must have competition. So this is essentially, political parties are formed to acquire what? To acquire power. So therefore, when there is competition, whether it's in ODM or outside ODM, it is part and parcel of the game. Lastly, yes, for now, that's that.
Thank you. Lastly, you can sit down. Let's come to the gentleman. Let's keep time. So now, if we ukiendelea sana ndakukata.
Haina shida. My name is James Nyakoi, former Secretary General JKUAT. So when Raila died, kwa mazishi yake, we saw so many people wakisimama wakiongea wakisema Raila left us in the broad-based government, sisi tuko broad-based government, Raila amekufa, sasa tutasonga na Mheshimiwa William Samoei Ruto, that ODM does not have anyone else or any formidable person who can run for the presidency, and for that reason they are going to support William Ruto. We saw the deputy party leader Barati saying that they are inviting William Ruto back to ODM as among the old members of ODM, and that he should run using the ODM ticket. But if we can listen to the last speech that Raila gave before he fell sick, Raila said, "Who told you?" And that was the speech that Sifuna gave. He said that, "Who told you that ODM will not have a candidate?" So if we are being honest with ourselves, and if ODM is being honest with themselves, there are three branches or there are three groups of individuals in ODM. Number one, we have those who are looking towards their political sunset, those who embody the legal, the ideologies and the principles of the party, the Orengos, the Anyang Nyongos. We have another group of political leeches, the ones who are saying that sisi tuko kwa broad-based government, those who are holding on Baba's court to survive. Those are the same people wenye walikuwa wanajua Baba, whether Baba wins or Baba doesn't win, bora Baba amesema tosha, we are going to win. And we have the progressive minds, you know, the Sifunas, the Babu Winos, the Anthony Kibagendis of ODM, you know, and that is why they're being termed as rebellious, but because they know and they understand the ideologies of ODM. And the other thing is, Kasmuel said that ODM's ideology is that they're civic Republicans. But I can say that, Social Democrats. But I can say, majorly, that is what Raila embodied. That was what Raila was, you know, not what ODM is. Because Raila has already died, and even the mourning period is not yet over. And we started quoting with another suitor saying that this is the direction we are going to take. Finally, Edwin Sifuna said, and he is on record as the SG, saying that if the 10-point agenda, the government is going to go against the 10-point agenda, they will have no option than to withdraw from that particular. But if we look at the entire 10-point agenda, there is only one that was that the government has actually adhered to. So let them not lie to themselves. They're on a lifeline. They're on a life support machine. But let's hope for the best.
You're also on a lifeline. Let's hand over the mic to the gentleman there. Let's please be brief.
Thank you. I'm Jared Omondi Atela. I'm a student at the Kenya School of Law. My good books tells me that you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. To be honest, currently ODM is moving like a headless chicken. They do not know where to go to. Some factions of ODM who are benefiting from the government, I call them tumbocrats. They're like Baba left us in government. Some are saying Baba did not leave us in government. Let us be honest. For ODM to survive, we must tell each other the truth. Someone like my brother here, Kasmuel, said that, Sifuna, if you have a dissenting opinion, leave. Raila was accommodating everyone, even those with dissenting opinions. For ODM to survive, number one, let us stop this issue of guided democracy. Democracy is a government of the people, by the people, with the people, for the people. But in ODM, what is happening is what we call guided democracy, whereby they want to impose unpopular candidates to us. So for ODM to progress after Raila's death, number one, this issue of, in our area we say, Asimagelot, should stop. Number two, let us be honest, because I'm also a member of ODM. ODM as a party, please don't send the likes of Babu Owino, who have really fought for the party. Now they've been branded as Patel. But when he was fighting for the party, he was being called our brother Babu Owino. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's pass the mic there. Let's first take it to the guys who have not spoken at the back.
My name is Morgan Mtsami from Kakamega County, and my thinking is that ODM is at the verge of collapsing, because just after the death of Baba Jacom, may he rest in peace, we had those political wrangles, leadership wrangles, where we had the other day, Kasamuel just afresh in the party was questioning or telling Sifuna to resign if he has that discerning opinion. And I think there is this state is trying to capture the ODM. We don't know if it will survive, but let's hope for the best. That's all.
Okay. Gentleman next to you.
Thank you very much. My name is Leon Babu, and I'm a student at the Kenya School of Law. So my view on this topic, on this question, if ODM will survive, it is pegged on, I actually tend to say that I'm actually an optimist when it comes to doing all my dealings. And I pray that ODM survives the fall of the giant Raila Amolo Odinga. And right now, the only thing that, the main thing that I can see that will bring the division and the fall of the ODM is the fragmentation of how now the leaders of the party have come and now decide to leave the party. And once they decide to leave the party will become a shell of what it used to embody. So right now, I would urge the leaders of ODM to come. This is not the time to fight. This is not the time to leave the party. This is not the time to want to open your own separate party. Now is the time to come together, form actually the shoes of Raila Amolo Odinga cannot be filled by anybody in my point of view. And my suggestion is, instead of looking for somebody to fill those shoes, they should come and institute what I can say a presidential coalition. In that, in the sense of leadership, instead of having one bull to lead the whole ship, because now that is how ODM is used to do their dealings. Because Baba used to stand up and say, this is this, people follow. Now it is time, because now the shoes of Baba, we cannot fill them with anybody, even though they try. It's time now to come and form a coalition, maybe consisting of 3 to 5 people who are going to be the leaders of ODM. Because it will be such a shame and a bad thing for ODM to come and end because of their titan and their founder dying. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You've been having your hand up. I just want to give you 1 minute, please, so that we need to close. It's almost tomorrow.
I'll be as short as a cock on a hen, and I'll not expose warped logic as I give my closing statements. Nature upholds vacuum. ODM is not deficient of leaders. Baba has troops of people who think well, people who are well educated, and the best minds we have at our legislative house, leave alone governors who have performed well. So for ODM and for the youth who are mourning Baba, don't mourn Baba here and say negative things about Baba. Walk the talk. We are now advancing towards third liberation. Walk towards the economic liberation we want. Don't mourn Baba and you want NGCDF. Don't mourn Baba and you are spreading things that are not even workable here. As I finish, to our panelists, You cannot see, I'm not telling you not to criticize government, because I criticize it when it goes wrong.
Just lift your mic up.
But you can never see anything good in government when your opening statement is that you are defiant of anything that the government does. Even if it puts food on your table, you'll say it's poison. So as we start the show, let us start on a neutral base. A panelist cannot aezi egemea side moja and you expect a well-channeled conversation. I think with that, I rest my case, and may the soul of Raila Amolo Odinga continue resting in peace.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I think as a response to my brother here, this show has principles on data, insight, and truth. We are a vocal representation of the Kenyan people. We represent Kenyan values. This was a space for Kenyans to ask what next with ODM. And that's exactly what we got delivered. And we're going to get into our last word now.
Yes, and so we asked the question on our social media platforms, online, on YouTube, on X. We asked, will ODM survive after Raila's exit? And we had some polls. On X, let me begin with the X. The poll shows that yes, it will is at 27.6%. No, it will not is at 72.4%. That's the X poll, 72.4%. On YouTube, the poll says no at 64%, yes at 36%. And so we also have another win, so to speak, on the no side. In terms of those who feel that sorry, I beg your pardon, ODM, I've just seen IEBC on my charts, but ODM, whether it will survive after Raila Odinga's exit. And the last word, and like I said, aside from all the conversations and the views and opinions, we subjected this to data and different analytics. And the last word is that ODM survival after Raila depends on succession management, strategic rebranding, and youth engagement. Now, if it moderates and unifies behind a credible new leader, it can endure. Otherwise, it risks decline or absorption by emerging coalitions. And that is the last word. My name is Dan Mwangi. Thanks for joining us on this show. And my co-host, Zaha Indimuli. Have yourselves a great night, and thank you to each and every one of us for being part of the show tonight. This is definitely a topic that can go on for the next number of days non-stop. But speaking of days, it's almost tomorrow. So thanks for joining us, and remember our social media platforms at NTV.
Je, umemaliza kidato cha 4? Una wasiwasi utaanzia wapi hatua ya pili? Hujui ni ufanye aje ili kuhitimu katika tajriba yako? YMCA National Training Institute inakukaribisha kujiunga kwenye diploma courses, certificates na short courses. Wana day na evening classes, wana courses kama plumbing, electrical engineering, building and construction, motor vehicle mechanics, fashion and design, hairdressing and beauty therapy, ICT and computer applications, hotel management and catering. Kwa maelezo zaidi wasiliana na mwalimu mkuu David